أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيبنا وصفينا أبو القاسم محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. الحمد لأهله والصلاة على أهلها وسلام على من اتبع الهدى. أما بعد، Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. What was so important in the event of mubahala that the Prophet had to come with the aforementioned people? What was into these people, or what is into these people? What is into Ali ibn Abi Talib, Fatima al-Zahra, Sayyidatun Nisa'i al-Alameen, Hassan and Husain. This event was so much important because it had the truthfulness of the religion of Islam. And there was a situation here that the Prophet has to prove the truthfulness of Islam from the Christian side. And therefore, he was supposed to come with the people that are going to defend the truthfulness of what the Prophet would say on that day. Both Sunni and Shia commentators, they agree, they accept that this was to prove the virtues of Ali, Fatima, Hassan and Husain in this event of mubahala. The narrators from all both sides, they accept this, that Az-Zamakhshari, a well-known Sunni scholar, emphasizes a very important point about the presence of the Ahlul-bait in the event of mubahala. Mentions the point in such a way that it is to define and to clarify the virtues of Ali ibn Abi Talib, Fatima al-Zahra, Sayyidatun Nisa'i al-Alameen, Hassan and Husain. A well-known narration from the sources of the Sunni narration. The event is referred to in Sahih Muslim and Musnad of Ahmad ibn Hanbal. It is referred to as حدثنا قتيبة ابن سعيد ومحمد بن عباد وتقاربا في اللفظ. قال حدثنا حاتم وهو ابن إسماعيل عن بكير بن مسمار عن عامر بن سعد ابن أبي وقاص عن أبيه قال أمر معاوية بن أبي سفيان سعدا فقال ما منعك أن تسب أبا التراب؟ فقال أما ما ذكرت ثلاثا قالهن له رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فلن أسبه، لأن تكون لي واحدة منهن أحب إلي من حمر النعم. سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول له خلفه في بعض مغازيه، فقال له علي يا رسول الله خلفتني مع النساء والصبيان؟ فقال له رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أما ترضى أن تكون مني بمنزلة هارون من موسى؟ إلا أنه لا نبوة بعده. وسمعته يقول يوم خيبر لأعطين الراية رجلا يحب الله ورسوله ويحبه الله ورسوله. قال فتطاولنا لها فقال ادعوا لي عليا، فأتي به أرمده فبصق في عينه ودفع الراية إليه ففتح الله عليه. ولما نزلت هذه الآية فقل تعالوا ندعو أبناءنا وأبناءكم، دعا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عليا وفاطمة وحسنا وحسينا فقال اللهم هؤلاء أهلي. The narration says Muawiyah asked Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas about his reason for refusing to kiss Ali ibn Abi Talib. When Muawiyah commanded him to do so, Sa'd replied, because of three things in Ali, that if I had one of them, it was going to be more precious to me than having red camels. At that time, red camels were the precious animals in the region of Arabs. He said that the Prophet assigned Ali as his successor. As when he was leaving for a battle, Ali said, should I be here with women and children, not helping you in the war? Then the Prophet replied, are you not pleased that your position to me is like the position of Aaron to Moses, with the difference that there is no prophet after me, except for prophethood. You have all the positions Aaron had towards Moses. And I heard the prophet in the battle of Khaybar saying, tomorrow I will give the flag to a man who loves Allah and his prophet, and Allah loves and his prophet loves him. This was the second thing. We all competed. Sa'd said, we all competed to get it. Then the Prophet said, call Ali to me. Ali came to the Prophet while his eye was ashy and he could not open it. So the Prophet touched his eye with his mouth, then gave his flag to him, so that Allah opened that castle through the hands of Ali ibn Abi Talib. And when the verse revealed to the Prophet, come, let us call our sons and your sons, our women and your women, our souls and your souls, the Prophet called Ali and Fatima and Hassan and Husain and said, oh Allah, these people are my household. When we look at this hadith, it is very difficult to deny and to refuse that the Prophet came with Ali, Fatima, Hassan and Husain, because we understand from this hadith and many more others that could be mentioned that it was only these people that the Prophet came with. And it is very difficult to include the other people which the Prophet never came with, because this hadith and many more others, they are said to be the authentic hadith. They are said to be the authentic narrations that conclude that the Prophet came with these people to the event of mubahala. Now, what was so important for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reveal to the Prophet that he should bring people like these people that have been mentioned here? We can see that Hassan and Husain, during this time, they were so young. They were little boys that It's normal right now, for example, in modern life, it's normal right now to say the young boy of a tender age cannot testify to the truth in court, cannot give evidence of the truth in court because the boy is young, the girl is young. But the Prophet, in testifying for the truth of Islam, he came with these two boys, our sons. The application of our sons here, many people would say maybe the Prophet came with other companions. Maybe the Prophet here came with the sons of other companions. But the Prophet came with these two young boys, Hassan and Husain. Are they willing to testify the truth? Can their age be accepted for them to testify the truth of the big thing that is called the religion of Islam? Yes, of course. We can see and understand that where there's the Spirit of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where there's God, everything is possible. Where there's the evidence to prove the existence of God, to prove the rightfulness of the religion, everything is possible in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let us take, for instance, for example, the story of Nabi Isa alayhi salam, Jesus Christ. Jesus spoke when he was just a little baby. When he was just a baby, he spoke from the cradle. What would be so difficult for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make Hassan and Husain testify that the religion of Islam is a truthful religion? Moreover, these people, these sons, they are the sons that are included after this event of mubahala to the verse of purification when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purified the Ahlul-bait, the household of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So it means that the nature of Hassan and Husain was the nature that is a truthful nature. They were born to be truthful children. They were born to be the children of leadership. They were the leaders in themselves. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses a leader when we don't understand that that person is a leader. Like for instance, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam himself was our prophet even the time before he was born. The people came to understand that Muhammad is a messenger of God when he started inviting them to Islam. But this does not mean that Prophet Muhammad became the messenger when he started his message. No, he was the messenger, he was the prophet before we realized that he is the prophet. Same applies to the boys that the Prophet came with. Hassan and Husain, their nature, their instinct is the instinct of truthfulness. Their nature is the nature of truthfulness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them to be leaders of the youth in paradise. So they are there to help the Prophet testify the truthfulness of Islam. That is the reason why the Prophet brought these people. That is the reason why the Prophet brought these two sons. It is said and it is understood that wisdom and maturity does not go with age. The boys were wise. The boys were matured spiritually and physically. Spiritually and emotionally. But people ask the question, why is... Yes, they were young boys, but their nature was the nature of the truthfulness of the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever is being testified by the Prophet is going to be testified by these boys. That is why when the Prophet said, "Come, let us go," they went with the Prophet. When the Prophet said the dua, if they say Ameen, the dua is going to be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because their nature is a truthful nature. This is what we understand from our sons. You see that the narration from the book, one of the authentic books of Sunni, Sahih Muslim and the Musnad of Ahmad ibn Hanbal, look out this narration, how it is presented. Sa'ad refused to kiss Imam Ali alayhi salam, because of these three things that were pointed to Imam Ali alayhi salam. This was because why Sa'ad refused. This is to see, and this is a sign to show us that Ali ibn Abi Talib was the other kind of companion of the Prophet compared to many of the companions of the Prophet. Sa'ad himself refused to kiss Ali ibn Abi Talib. Then he said that if he had these three things, these three qualities which the Prophet had to ascribe to Imam Ali alayhi salam, to Sa'ad it was going to be the precious things that he ever had in his life. Muawiyah was propagating this time that everybody should hate Ali ibn Abi Talib, so that the leadership and the understanding of the Prophet message should shift to the other side. Therefore, everybody was forced to kiss Ali ibn Abi Talib. Now, this narration is into the books of the Sunni to clarify, to say, and to talk about the three things why they could not kiss Ali ibn Abi Talib. And then the last part of this narration is the part that is more interesting and more impressive, where Sa'ad talked about the verse of mubahala. He said that when the verse of mubahala was revealed to the Prophet to bring the sons, the women, and himself and themselves, the Prophet brought Ali ibn Abi Talib. The Prophet brought Fatima. The Prophet brought Hassan and Husain. And then the Prophet said, Ya Allah, these are my Ahlul-bait, these are my family. This is what Sa'ad mentioned himself in the book of Sunni narration. That is what he said. So this is to understand that the position of Ali, the position of the Ahlul-bait, these people, in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is a very higher position. Because if the Prophet could see them to be higher, then it means the highness of them is coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the Prophet. And another serious important which Sa'ad mentioned in this narration was that the Prophet gave the position to Ali ibn Abi Talib, that position that was with Aaron to Moses. It means the representative of Moses was Aaron. Here it is clear also. The Prophet mentioned that the position of Aaron during this time was with Ali ibn Abi Talib. And therefore Ali was to represent the Prophet. Why would you get somebody else whom does not have these qualities, whom does not have this position to go and represent the religion of Allah, to go and represent the truthfulness of the religion of Allah? It's impossible. The Prophet had to get the people that will represent the religion, the truthfulness of the religion, to be the truthfulness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.